Welcome back. So is Kalonzo Musyoka and Musalia Mudavadi reading from their tea leaves, wrongly? Are they misreading the bellwether, or are they misreading the political moves, as it were, given the current state of play of the politics? Yeah. And this is where we have a debate circling on. We're holding court this morning. If you're joining us this time, at this time we have Farah Maalim, who is the former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, also the Deputy Chair of the Wiper Party, Okongo Mogani, who's a Senior Councillor and also the Senator of Nyamira County, also nominated Senator Isaac Mwaura as well. We continue the conversation. Before we took a short break, we had that particular heated debate on the year 2003 and also for 2007. We had Farah Maalim saying that Raila Odinga played the late Samuel Chai when it became to be the president. He was supposed to be the presidential candidate then, but he came up with the Kibaki Tosha. But before I continue with you, Farah, I had rudely interrupted the Okongo Mogini. Just hold on to your thoughts so that now we can hear from Okongo Mogini. Just finish your thought. You've not really lost your train of thought. Okongo.
Yep. I think also, going back to that idea of Kibaki Tosha, that's reading the politics of the day correctly, and you make the right judgment. As I said earlier, my friend, the late Nyachai, may have made political misjudgment at that time. And the point I'm trying to make is that Kalonzo Musyoka is likely going to make the same political misjudgment that others have made in the past. And listening to Farah Maalim, my good friend, a very experienced hand in politics, he has come out very clearly that Kalonzo Musyoka will not necessarily be running to form government, but he maybe wants to stop Raila. And if you have an ambition of becoming a president of this country in the future, you need to build political bridges across the country. You remember that the mistake that Kalonzo Musyoka made in 2007, breaking away from ODM and forming ODM Kenya, has made him live with that tag of a spoiler. That's why people call him watermelon, because they say he's a man you cannot trust. And what is the political value, Dibal, of if we go by what my friend Farah Maalim is saying, that you just want to run for presidency because you want to tick the box that I was also a candidate in the 2022 presidential candidate? I think that does not make a political premium for me. Political premium is forming a movement with an ideology that you can sell to the people of Kenya and market yourselves as serious contenders. Why should you tell Kenyans that there is nothing wrong in having a rerun? Sell yourself as a team that wants to win this thing on the first round, but not saying that I can run, I spoil for one candidate, then when there is a rerun, I can get an opportunity to join government as a minister. I want to assure my friends in Oka that you can still join the winning team, which is spearheaded by Raila Odinga, and you can still make a bargain that you want a stake in government. It's unfortunate that BBI will not be there. You may not be a deputy prime minister or a prime minister, but you can bargain to be a government. Don't just say, I will spoil for the two candidates, then when there is a rerun, I will bargain to get a slot as a cabinet minister. You are spoiling your chances for the future. Kalonzo Musyoka is a promising future politician, but let him not consistently be on the wrong side of history. Let him not make this very costly mistake in each presidential election cycle. That will spoil for his future. If he was to join Raila, he builds bridges with the people who support Raila across the country, then he will be a very good presidential candidate for the future. This is the only opportunity he has to remove that tag of a spoiler in each presidential election. That's my take.
All right. Farah Maalim, maybe just to close up on that, and then we go to Isaac Mwaura.
I did not say that we are running in this election right now independently as Oka with the intention that we cannot come number one or number two. We are likely to become one of the two. And this thing is going to span out in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. You will see how things are going to be. But the reality of the matter is this. You see, politics is the game of the possible. And more than anything else, you have a certain image and a prestige and a dignity to protect. You have a certain trust. When there is a serious trust deficit, and you agree with somebody on something, and tomorrow he comes up with something else. There is a letter which is signed by lawyers, none other than the top legal minds in this country here, in which Raila had given an undertaking in 2017 that I want you to support me this time. Whether I come in or I lose, I will support you in the next election. What happened to that trust? What happened to that trust? And that is there between Raila and Kalonzo. And at the appropriate time, he's going to bring out that letter for the benefit of all Kenyans to see that it's not him who is rocking the boat, but it's a question of how much can you trust this person. Now, having said that, Nyachai, I told you, was the one who funded that rally we had in Uhuru Park. He was promised by none other than our brother there that he's going to be the flag bearer. And there's going to be a system that will be set together like an electoral college, which is going to determine who is going to be the flag bearer. Because these people walked out of Kasarani as KANU, because they said Kisirani, because there was a hand-picking by Moi of Uhuru. So the lack of democratic space is what made them to troop out of KANU. Then you go back there and do exactly, not even exactly, far worse than what Moi did. Moi at least got together delegates of KANU in Kasarani and asked them for an opinion. Of course, he had his own preferred candidate, and everybody out there, the majority of the people agreed with him, including the late what you call Saitoti, who did not like it, but said, so be it, history is going to prove. He gave a very powerful speech. But the party settled on Uhuru. Here now he comes in there at the tail end of a rally and stands up there, unbeknown to all his friends, the folks who were with him, Kalonzo, Nyachai, Saitoti, everybody who was there, and the late Ntimama. I was there myself. We were all there. And then he just comes out there and says, Kibaki munajua, bas, Kibaki tosha. Of course you will not accept that kind of a travesty of a system. We were there together as a party. We were supposed to reach a decision together. And he had everybody, he patted them on the back and said, it's you, it's you, it's you. And in the process, a lot of resources change hands. So having said that, you cannot trust somebody, you will not be out there supporting somebody you cannot trust, because you never know what's going to happen in the end. And Nyachai did not lose out. Nyachai walked out on principle. I supported him that time myself. I was there with him. He got the number of votes that he got.
Thank you.
But at the end of it again, because of that deficit in trust, the NAC, what they call, collapsed. They went different ways, and I think they were there only for a year. Is it a year or maybe even less than
all right.
a year?
Thank you.
And Nyachai came back to the government and stayed in government for 3.5 years.
And what happened in the subsequent election?
Well, subsequent election, the Mzee just was already too old and did not want to
because
contest.
The point I want to make to you, Farah.
I think.
Let me moderate a bit,
yes,
because I think also Isaac Mora is getting lost in the shuffle a bit, so that at least we don't seem to lose him out as well on this particular debate. Isaac, you wanted to say something?
Yes, it's kindly, so that it's not just a debate between Okongo and Farah.
But you know where you are. You want me to say that one? Yeah. You know where you've been to. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Val really to give credit to Raila Odinga, he said Kibaki tosha, but he still is the one who destroyed the NAC government. So we must not just overemphasize the positives. We have to bring out the negatives as well, and also to say.
No. But I need to butt in and ask you, when you say destroy the NAC government, what do you mean? Because on any confirmable facts, it was...
it collapsed. It collapsed.
And they were thrown out.
Yeah, and they were thrown out. So,
they were thrown out,
yeah,
and Nyachai was brought
exactly. So that's also a fact, but also to say that Raila has formed coalitions with almost everybody who matters in this country. And I am urging my brother, my elder brother, former Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, and Deputy Party Leader of Wiper, to join William Ruto. And we don't have a history of reneging on agreements. In fact, Deputy President William Ruto has been very consistent in whoever he supports. When he was in KANU, YK92. When it moved to ODM, he was actually the face of ODM in many ways, and he supported Raila to the hilt. And in the process, Raila became Prime Minister. After that, he joined Uhuru Kenyatta. They were really traumatized, and they went through hell, and through the ICC. They formed the Jubilee Coalition under URP-TNA. And now under the Jubilee, he's been very consistent, very loyal, and he does not abandon the people that he joins pacts with. Only when those people feel like they have misused him and now they want to throw him under the bus. So I would want to ask Kalonzo Musyoka, I would want to ask Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula, instead of piggy banking on a third horse narrative, trying to say maybe we can negotiate on a runoff, the most important thing, because you formed CORD, I was part of CORD, Mheshimiwa Farah, remember you tried to become the Speaker of the Senate, I think.
Yes.
And then NASA, which really was principally Mudavadi's idea. Okay, yes, seems to be the idea of Kalonzo Musyoka. It is important that we just join hands and win, hands down against Okongo Mogeni's ODM. So that instead of saying Azimio la Kuzimia, we really have one united Kenya, because it appears if you were to join Raila, you'll have played a third fiddle, second fiddle third times, and you will have gone into political oblivion, because you saw what happened in Western, for example, for Mudavadi. Really, that was provocation of the highest order, where you come to Western and you will say you don't need Musalia Mudavadi, and you go straight into the so-called bedroom with Atwoli. You go to Makueni, you ignore Kalonzo Musyoka, you promote Alfred Mutua and Kivutha Kibwana to show that Kalonzo is not the king of Ukambani. Why would somebody want to do that and try to subdue you, to subjugate your interest? I believe very clearly, if Kalonzo Musyoka and Musalia Mudavadi do not make a clear decision, because of course Gideon Moi is already with Raila anyway. He was even there during the launch of Azimio in Kasarani. If they do not do so, a decisive direction this time round, they are likely to lose their support base, because they must be believable. And I understand your struggle. But the only way we are going to settle this is because Raila represents the past, Ruto represents the future. Join the future.
Join the future. And I like what Isaac Bora normally, he has these witty phrases that he comes up with. By the way, we can go back to him and say, you are the one. We can credit you that you are the one who came up with the Tanga Tanga and Kieleweke factions as a moniker. And right now I can hear Azimio la
Kuzimia.
Azimio la Kuzimia.
La Kuzimia, and then hatutaki vitendawili, tunataka vitendo za wili.
I think, I don't know whether you'll give me a chance.
Okongo, let me just give you a chance.
To respond to Mwaura. First of all, if you want to look at a person who scores a distinction in giving false promises to the people of Kenya, then you look at Deputy President William Ruto. You know the promises that were made to Kenyans in 2017, the run-up to the 2017 elections. The promise of jobs, the promise of new stadiums, the promise of how the economy will be revamped and all that. So, I mean, Kenyans know who is William Ruto, even if Isaac Mwaura want to use all the sweet words this morning. Number two, if you want to look at a person who has rocked every political coalition, it's William Ruto. We were with William in ODM. He was a senior minister in ODM. He left the course and went to join Jubilee. Now look at what he's doing to Jubilee. Jubilee was one of the biggest political party, a serious political movement. Now William Ruto has rocked it. He has created, is it called UDA? He has created UDA. He has totally wrecked Jubilee party. By the time he's done with it, there will be no Jubilee party. Look at it, that's William. So my friend Farah, don't fall into the trap. Don't move to that side of William Ruto. Wheelbarrows will not change the economy of this country. You need to stay with Azimio la Umoja, not Azimio la Kuzizimia, Azimio la Umoja, that wants to unite the country. Not this idea of telling us that you want, how can you set yourself as a presidential candidate by saying you want to control Ukambani? Ukambani alone cannot deliver the presidency to Kalonzo Musyoka. As I've said, what he needs to do, learn from history. When Musalia made a serious political blunder in 2007 and refused to listen to the people of Gusii Nation, he did not even win his seat as a member of parliament for Nyaribari. I want to speak to my friend Kalonzo Musyoka. Please, don't take people of Ukambani Nation for granted. Don't take the Ukambani people for granted. They will shock you in 2022. The moment they realize that you want to drive them to the opposition, away from government, they will reject you. Please listen to me. Instead of being tempted to that side of William Ruto, join the side that is led by Raila Amolo Odinga, a man who has shown this country that does not have bitterness in his heart. He has shown that he's a statesman. He has come out to shake hands with one of his bitter opponents, like President Uhuru Kenyatta, for the sake of this country. What is marketing is to have peace, to have unity, to create health care, to fight corruption. That's what Kenya needs. I want to ask my colleagues in Oka, my friend Farah Mahalim, please join the winning side. Thank you.
All right.
Dibal.
Yes, please.
To begin with, Nyachai did not lose. Raila was an ordinary member of parliament from 2003, I think, or beginning of 2004. No, when did we do the referendum? And Nyachai was in the government for almost 3 years. So basically, he was there in the government, in the front bench, when Raila was in the back bench, thrown out of that government by Kibaki. If it's a matter of ticking boxes for presidential candidates, Raila has contested 4 times. 4 times. He has ticked those boxes 4 times and did not make it those 4 times. For one reason or the other. Although I believe strongly myself that he has been rigged out a number of times, and all those 4 times I supported him myself. And for purposes of the, you see, Kenyans have learned the political class which is out there now. They've studied them. It's not like the first time, the second time, when you can only listen to what the politician tells you in terms of the programs and the manifestos and what they intend to. But now everybody is known. They know how much to trust somebody. They know how much to, you know, there's a deficit of trust, and nobody is going to trust you if that deficit of trust was demonstrated all these years when you are losing elections. I want to tell you one thing. Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi are going out there full ahead, full throttle to win the presidency of this country. I have a strong feeling that they are likely to become number 1 or number 2 in the first round, and in which case, in the second round, they will win it. In the unlikely, what do you call, or unforeseen, in my opinion, myself, circumstances that they don't make it, they're still going to become very powerful factors in the future of this country and determining how politics in this country is going to be directed. Coalition building is a very healthy phenomenon in all democracies, in all developed democracies. So, and by the way, I had said this before, and I still stand by that. A straight run between Raila Odinga and William Ruto is going to win hands down. I can assure you that.
Thank you.
That is going to win. And that's why we have decided ourselves that we are not going to go into any other coalition other than OCA. We will proceed on ourselves, and we will determine the future of this country. In the first round, become number 1 or number 2, in which case we'll form the next government. And in the unlikely event it doesn't happen, we'll still decide who forms the next government. So basically what we are saying is that we are in that hard knocks, you know, where the gloves are off of politics. So there it. Don't say come and join us, come and join us. No, let's go out there. Let's see what we are all made of, and let's see what Kenyans are going to decide.
Right, but Farah, let me just take you on that particular, before you come to your Congo Mogini, because we need just to take on Farah on that particular note of Raila Odinga and Ruto running this race. Ruto will become the winner. It seems also you're speaking from both sides of your mouth, because you just said here that, you know from those previous, elections that he's run, he's been rigged. And so he was, so to speak...
I qualified that statement on a number of occasions.
No,
hang on, Omogeni. I qualified that statement on a number of occasions. And it's just that you have not been following it. Raila Odinga's father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, was the father of this, what they call reform politics we have in here. Finally, when he went for the race against Moi, he ended up becoming number 3. Number 1 was Moi. Number 2 was Kibaki, who had left Kanu the other day. No, sorry. Number 2 was Matiba. Number 3 was Kibaki. He became number 4. Raila ran in 1997 and got only about 600 and something votes. The reason why in 2007 it was 1 against 42 Kenya tribes. So if Uhuru was going to be the presidential, or any other Kikuyu, any other mountain person was going to be a presidential candidate in 2022, you can rest assured all Kenyans would opt for somebody else they think has a chance of winning against him. But when he came second, or he won all these times, he had all Kenyans. But this time, because it is not a mountain candidate against him, the same way it was not a mountain candidate in 1993-92 against Jaramogi, this is going to be a different scenario altogether. Raila is not going to win again. You see, for lack of a better word, because of the assumption that there has been too much central province, Kikuyu hegemony in the country, hegemony, whenever it comes to a Kikuyu candidate trying to become a president in this country, people begin to feel that, look, this country belongs to the rest of us. So they go to one candidate they think can win against them. The most extreme, what you call a candidate against them. And Raila and his father fit into that.
Thank you, sir.
But not when it's a Kalenjin or a Somali or a Luya against him. Watch it this
Thank you. Allow me to bat in, Farah. And I'll also bring Okongo Mogini and Senator Isaac Mwaura.
Now, I think, Dibal, the point I made is this. If you make costly political mistakes, you become politically irrelevant from your backyard.
First of all, before you even go to political mistakes.
The point I said about Nyachai is that in 2000,
let it finish, Farah.
Just listen to me, Farah, and listen to me very carefully. Why I'm drawing that analogy of the mistakes that Mzee Nyachai made is that the people were with him to a man in Gusii Nation in 2002. But in 2007, when he misread the political mood of the Gusii Nation, he ran for a political seat, a parliamentary seat in Yaribari Church. And he lost to a novice, a political novice then, called Dr. Monda. And that's why I wanted to remind my friend Farah that you can never take the people you lead for granted. When they will make a conclusion that you are leading them to political wilderness, they will reject you. And that's what the Gusii Nation did to Mzee Nyachai. They were with him in 2002, to a man. But in 2007, they said, no, you are not leading us to the right direction, and they rejected Mzee. And he lost his political seat.
Let him finish.
Can I finish, please?
Yes.
So it's the same analogy I want to put on the table for Mzee Kalonzo Musyoka. That the moment the Kamba nation will come to realization that you are leading them to political wilderness, there is a likelihood of them rejecting you and you become politically irrelevant. You know, Farah Mahal, my good friend, has let the cat out of the bag this morning. He is telling us they are not running so that they are relevant in the first contest. He is telling us that they can be relevant in post-election coalition. They can form a coalition to become ministers and the likes. Dibal, this is not 2007. We have a new constitution. The Kamba nation must be told that His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka will not become a vice president, in this case a deputy president, after the elections by him approaching the top presidential candidates to pick him as a deputy president. Our constitution now is very clear. You pick your running mate, and the running mate is that is the person who will become the deputy president. So when you tell the Kamba nation that let's wait and see what happens after the elections, and they know that the contest is between William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga, then they will know that you are misleading them politically. And I don't think there is any scientific data on the table that can support that conclusion by Farah that if William Ruto runs against Raila Odinga, Raila will lose. We had opinion polls, Dibal, that were released, I think, 3 weeks ago. Raila Odinga was ahead by 1 point. He was at 33. William Ruto was at 32. Me, what I'm seeing from the side that is supporting Kalonzo Musyoka is that there is some bitterness of people feeling that there was a promise that Raila Amolo will support Kalonzo. Now that he's not supporting him.
And that promise...
now that he's not supporting him,
let me but I don't want to lose...
politics is not about bitterness, Debal.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let me just cross over to... No, just a moment. I cross over to Isaac Maura because I think also this is very pivotal because this particular debate of the political parties amendment bill was also on the floor of the Senate. And what we are talking about is the issue of trust. And from our understanding, this was meant to be a panacea when we're talking about trust. We've been having memorandum of understanding deposited with the political parties registrar, but now we have it in an ironclad, defined political parties act bill that has more water and, and gravitas when it comes to legal framework around it as well. So do you think this will be the panacea of healing this political mistrust that we are having right now, that is, a ping pong between Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, a ping pong between, Musalia Mudavadi and Raila again? It seems that he's circling around Raila. And I've mentioned here before, we've had a discussion that even Musalia Mudavadi has attested to the fact, to him, Raila is the political problem in this country.
I think first and foremost, when I listened to my senior brother, Farah, and Okongo Mugeni, it's like we are having some divorce proceedings of the NASA Astral. It's going on. And by the way, the orange people find it very hard to let go.
And the nuptials are...
Yeah, because even for me, they've never really let me go. That's why they really attack me very seriously. But there is a conversation that is going on around in this country between what I call direct nationalism, practiced by a single national party. In this case, we've had UDA, we've had NAC of 2002, we have ODM of 2007, and Jubilee of 2017, versus a coalition, what I call tribal nationalism, that is led through coalitions. And you have an example of the CORD coalition in 2013, the Jubilee coalition 2013, and also the coalition of the PNU around somehow Kibaki 07, and of course the NAS of 2017. There is a conversation that is going on there, which way towards nationalism. And the political parties act, amendment bill, is actually trying to answer that question. So when I see, for example, how the Wiper party was treated by ODM, where they were given an ex gratia of 70 million, like take it or leave it, and Kalonzo Musyoka had to run as on an ODM ticket to be the running mate of Raila Odinga, you have a conversation there. You need to ask, is the future of this country towards coalition, you through regional parties, and then build one side of the political divide? Because essentially, by the way, the BAL, we are a de facto two-party state. That is why the other people, after number 1 and 2, we can agree to a very large extent that you can easily call them also runs. So even if you have 10 presidential candidates, you end up with a scenario like America, where there were 144 presidential candidates, but you only know Biden, we only knew Biden and Trump. And the same case even in the UK and other jurisdictions. So people have about 2 choices, at most 3, but mostly 2 to choose from. And now the question is, how do you make sure that the political conmanship witnessed in the various coalitions, either through one party, because NAC was a coalition but one party, ODM was a coalition is also but one party, or through individual parties to have one presidential candidate versus, and then they ran for a parliamentary seat. Now, a very interesting scenario happened in Congo DRC, where I was recently. You had somebody called Martin Fayulu, who was the opposition candidate. But he never got even a single member of parliament, because what the coalition partners did, they made sure they gave him all of the presidential votes, but they shared the parliamentary seats amongst them, to the extent that then, even when he may have actually won, his win was questionable because he didn't have MPs. And if you remember the recent fight at the National Assembly, the real battle was not so much about the text. It was not about the substance of the act. It was about who has the numbers. And it was very clear. It was Azimio 158 versus UDA caucus 138. So a difference of 20. That contest was settled so that the consequential, the subsequent votes were inconsequential in determining the substance of the argument. And you will see the same scenario in the Senate debate between OKA versus Azimio there, if still they are going to be together, especially because, as my good friend Farah here, there are grievances that seem to be assuaged by the provisions of this, this bill. I'm happy because Okongo Omogeni is actually the chair of JLAC, the committee in the Senate, so he's very well versed about the substance of the text. I have problems, though, because really you cannot legislate character. If you have a dishonest person who goes against the intentions or whatsoever, it doesn't matter what the law says, because we've also seen the uneven application of the law in this jurisdiction that is Kenya. So what we need to have is to have an agreement where you know for sure, and you can see the Jubilee experience has actually worked. The government was shared 50-50 in 2013. It was shared 50-50 in 2017. But when the handshake came, of course, we were forced to be kind of opposition in government, just like SPLA in South Sudan. But having said so, political dishonesty will not be resolved by having a new set of laws. You just need to be sure. And you cannot force people that they have to come up into a coalition agreement 6 months to elections, because even the NAC candidate was only discovered 2 months to elections. And you can go on and on about how people settle these matters very well. So my take is that the BAL, yes, the law is going to come. It is clear. I think the Senate, where Farah wanted to be our speaker
on time. And I lost thanks to Raila.
Yes, we'll have more decorum. I remember Moses Wetangula said there's somebody who tried to run away the mess in the Senate, and he realized that nobody was interested in those theatrics. So you'll have a more genteel, mature discussion. I hope we can have a bipartisan approach, because the registrar of political parties is being given very sweeping powers. And remember, we should have actually had a situation where the registrar of political parties, registrar should have been made an independent office, just like DPP, so that the office is actually cushioned from the vagaries of the appointing authority. Currently, let me make this point, Bal. Currently, the registrar is subservient to the executive, and I've been a victim of that machination. The way I was arbitrarily removed from the Jubilee registry, the way ORPP didn't have spine, it played ball, and you see even the way the registrar may not have been the best candidate to be in that position, but because she has to serve a certain interest, she was conferred upon that office. And remember, even Lucy Ndungu, the current commissioner at CAJ, one who we came up with the political parties primaries bill, which part of this bill, by the way, the BAL, and even Kemunya is on record, was supposed to take my bill and put it there in terms of party nominations. It's on record, but I wish my bill can be passed as it is in the Senate. The registrar is so powerful, and is subject to abuse. We need to look at that. And also, if you have disputes with your party, Article 99, Sabbatical 1 read together with Sabbatical 3.
Thank you.
You should not lose your seat until you have exhausted all appeal mechanisms.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Farah Maalim,
Yes.
just to get back to you as well, because you've talked about sharing power and stopping people from gaining power as well. And it seems when we look at these two principles, Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo Musyoka, as much as they want to be the president of this country, it's their right to do that. Sometimes when you look at the political reality of the ground, maybe it might be dramatically different, a different kettle of fish altogether. But there is what also we call the political industrial complex, and in the campaign industrial complex as well. That when it comes to electioneering time, so many people also want to cash in. They want to come on the table with all beginning power, because they know this is the only time within, in the circle of 5 years that I can get a good tidy sum of money, also maybe get political positions as well. It is all about, maybe not for the presidency as it were, to stop someone else from getting power, so that you may have also, your bargaining chip on the table, as it were, at the end of the day. So do you think these two principles, even Moses Wetangula as well, they have no sorting idea that they will become one day the president of this country? It will happen, maybe someday, but not this particular time. But for political industrial complex, someone has to cash in.
No, Dibal, you've got it completely wrong. You don't understand the politics of this country. I can assure you, when we come back together 2 months down the line, you'll be talking a different language, or 3 months down the line from today. Because there is the 47, 48 million Kenyans out there who are looking for safe hands. Safe hands. They have a problem, they have a fear, a mortal fear of Ruto, they have a mortal fear of Raila. They will opt for a third option here. Let me now tell you something that you need to know. Some good number of years back, there was an election in Mali. In that election of Mali, there's somebody who got 47% but failed to get the 50 plus 1%. He was a Fulani, or a Fula, what they call in that place. The closest guy to him was somebody who had 19%. Then they went for the second round with the two of them. Can you believe it? That person who had 47% in the first round ended up with 45% in the second round, and the fellow who had 19% ended winning the elections. That's the president who just died the other day and was deposed in Mali. So the reality of the matter is that politics is a very complex thing. And the country enjoys right now that space in which you have three horses and you have options, you have choices for Kenyans. I am confident, given our own track records and history, that we will be able to convince the majority of Kenyans to vote in favor of Oka. So don't go out there, and this is not a stock market. You go to a stock market and you already know what everybody, the traders out there, is wielding. And of course you cannot, some of the companies are rated very high, others are low. So you can understand, you can predict in advance. Safaricom shares are going to soar, and they're going to sell very well because Safaricom is doing very well. Not in politics. In politics, there are fears, there are aspirations, there are frustrations. There are a lot of things that people take into consideration. And in the final analysis, you only have a die-hard support of about 20%. The rest of it is going to come out of basically the kind of security and the fear that they have. How is this person going to be towards us come the next election? Remember one thing. Raila had a frenzied, literally wild support in most of the minorities. In Northeastern Province, in Coast Province, in parts of Eastern Province, and all that. But when we came to the distribution of wealth, or rather of resources at the Senate, and he sided with the side that he sided with, Kenyans are beginning, in those areas, said, wait a minute, we never thought this guy was that kind of a person, a chameleon who basically would change his colors on the whim of the time. And I don't think he's going to get the kind of frenzied support that he had. And the first, what you call litmus test, was the election that was carried out in Kwale last time, where somebody from Independent and who was basically supported by UDA won. And there are a number of things. Northeastern is the same also. I don't think Raila is going to get the kind of support he used to get before. But that was a different scenario altogether. So we are going to cash in on all those fears and those what they call lost hopes and frustrations and deficit, what you call trust deficit. I want to tell my brother, Omogeni, did you expect Nyachai, who was done in and thrown under the bus by Raila in less than 2 hours? 2 hours before that, they were talking together in Serena Hotel. We walked from Serena Hotel to come to Uhuru Park, and he threw him under the bus and betrayed him on the spot. He's going to, and then he, of course, left the whole thing, ran as as a presidential candidate, got the small votes that we got. But at the same time, when NAC collapsed, Kibaki brought him on and told him, come we work together. They have a history together. They've been together from the time we got independence, and we've been together in the cabinet and in many places. In 2007, did you expect Nyachai to betray what do you call Kibaki, the man who got him into his government as a minister, and opt for the person who threw him under the bus? For God's sake, there's dignity and their principles and their values, human values. Mm-hmm. And some people are so proud that they will never let down their values, regardless of what the cost is. And I subscribe to that kind of what they call a psychology. So the point I'm trying to tell you is that, look, you can go around and say that the wedding in the other place has got more people, but the reality of the matter is Kenyans are going to decide at the end of the day. And I can assure you one thing, it's not going to be what you think right now. It's not a 2-horse race, it's a 3-horse race. And we're not going in there just to stop somebody. We're going in there to win. But even if we don't win, we'll still be part of. Even if we're going to be in the opposition, we're going to be the opposition, what they call leaders in that, and we will still play our role very well. And we have nothing against that.
Thank you.
We've done that before. We are willing to do it, but our focus is to win power. And we cannot try it. Today is the time, no more.
All right, thank you. Okongo Mogini, you've heard, Farah is optimistic. They're going to win this thing regardless of what is really happening on the ground. It is a three-horse race. We stopped the debate that we've been propagating as media, that it's a two-horse race. They're firmly on the ground.
Oh, I mean, Dibal, I don't really belabor the point that Kenyans know. You will see many opinion polls in the coming weeks, and it will remain a two-horse race. I have no doubt about it. And I want us to have coffee with my friend Farah Mahalim in a couple of weeks from now, and the scenario will not change. I think it's too late. You cannot have any more political investment to sell Oka as a third force. People have looked at them as people who are not serious, people are indecisive, people are just waiting on the wings there to benefit from the person who wins. And when you hear about coalitions being formed after the elections, the best that you can get, Dibal, is to bargain with the winning party to get cabinet slots in the government. And that's something that you can do by forming a pre-election coalition agreement. And Kenya is not Mali. You know, our constitution here is different from what we have in Mali. In Kenya, first and foremost, you have presidential candidate and the running mate. So even if you want to support somebody else after the first round of elections, you're not going to have a big gain in the chip. You can only be in cabinet. Unlike in Mali, where you can say, I will support you, I will be your vice president. So the legal constitutional environment that we are working with here is different. You are either relevant from the beginning or you have a very reduced bargaining power after the elections. Number two, you know,
No.
If we are talking about people who suffer from trust deficit, people you cannot trust politically, then we start with my friend Kalonzo Musyoka. They were with Raila Amolo Odinga in 2007. The person that they wanted to remove from power was the retired President Mwai Kibaki. They were together in the opposition. Then immediately after the results were announced, Kalonzo Musyoka jumped ship and joins the enemy, simply because a seat of vice president was dangled his way. And I've said this morning, and I want to repeat, that single mistake has proven to be very costly for Kalonzo Musyoka. Up to today, people look at Kalonzo as a spoiler. And even in this context of 2022, that tag will come back to haunt Kalonzo Musyoka. However much he wants to market himself as a serious presidential contender, the country and the people who are analyzing Kenyan politics will look at him as a spoiler. He is not a serious contender. He is in this to spoil and then bargain to be relevant in the government that will be formed, not by being a deputy president, but maybe by getting a cabinet slot. That is all. Then we will go back to the issue of what my friend Maura mentioned about numbers. The numbers that were backing Azimio in the National Assembly on the political parties bill was not 153. It was 163. While the other side, supported by UDA, was at 130. So if Kenyans are looking at where the numbers are, forget about the coffee that we see people taking in Karen. When you come now to the floor of the House, Azimio has a support base of 163 elected members of parliament, while UDA has 132. Now, let's also demystify some lies that are being peddled about the political parties bill. I want to correct my friend Isaac Mwaura, my good friend senator. The law that we are debating does not obligate parties to deposit coalition agreements 6 months to the elections. It talks about 120 days. So let's correct that narrative. It's not 6 months, it's 120 days. And Dibali, if I was to speak honestly as a lawyer, now not as a politician, as a lawyer and as a senior counsel, this is a very good attempt. The amendments on the political parties bill is a very good attempt to create a good legal framework for the management of coalition agreements for political parties. Why am I saying so? Number one is that we are now removing the power of distribution of money from the party that will maybe form a majority in terms of elected members and the one that will distribute money to the other smaller political parties, and vesting that power in the hands of the registrar of political parties, so that that money will not leave political parties' office and go to one party, but will be distributed to these parties from that source of the registrar of political parties. Number two, we're also saying that let's have discipline within political parties. Those who want to resign from political parties, let there be a framework. You'll be told now you don't subscribe to the ideology of these political parties. We want to give you an opportunity to leave. You are given fair hearing, then a decision is made. Not like what maybe happened to my friend Maura, where there was no really opportunity given to him to be heard before a decision was made. And then we are saying, if you are dissatisfied with the decision that is made by a political party, then you have 30 days to file an appeal, so that there is a very good legal framework on how you deal with the members that you think no longer subscribe to your ideology. Now, I don't see where these what we are calling massive powers given to the register of political parties. Because what we are saying, Dibali, is if you want to go to do nominations for Jubilee Party, it is the register of political parties who will certify for that party who are the registered members of Jubilee, according to the records being held by the register of political parties. But Uda is saying that that is giving massive powers to the register of political parties. Is that really something that anybody should be against? We need to know who are the ODM members, then they participate for the nomination of ODM members.
Thank you.
UDA members will participate. And then we are saying the register of political parties need to approve the nomination rules that will be used by various political parties, so that everybody who is running for a political seat under any of these parties knows these are the nomination rules that will guide the contest on picking candidates. Is that massive political powers? I think as Maura has put it, in conclusion, Debal, yes, 1 minute, as Maura has said, people in National Assembly were not opposing the political parties' amendment bill because of the context that was in the act, but it was a test of who has the numbers. So let's remove this political contest when we go to the floor of the Senate, discuss this bill in a bipartisan manner, and if we make a conclusion that it's a good bill for the country, which I think it is, let's vote without bringing political affiliations on the floor of the House.
All right. I think also we are strapped for time, and I want to cross over to you, Isaac Baura. Maybe you want to just have a rejoinder on what Kongo Mogene is disputing on what you were saying. But more primarily, I wanted just to also just flag up this particular editorial cartoon, because we always talk about politics, and the politics is all about perception. Perception, perception, perception. We saw the big rally in Bukhungu, and now we can see that Cleo was the one who, so to speak, invited William Ruto in Mumias, and Deputy President alluded to the fact that, it is Musalia Mudavadi that they've been having conversation with, and he was invited courtesy of Musalia Mudavadi, which he went full steam ahead to deny himself. That is Musalia Mudavadi. But at the end of the day, politics is all about perception. I want to just be very categorical with you. Is there any negotiation between Deputy President and Musalia Mudavadi as far as, them working together, moving towards 2022 is concerned?
Yeah, thank you, Debal. I think I've been in politics since 2006, national politics, and I joined ODM. So this is my 16th year. And I can tell you, the best way to know something is true is when it is denied. Yeah, because you'll never hear somebody saying, yes, you see things happening. There's always the denial. And right now, at this point in time, people must talk to each other and negotiate and try to see who has the best offer. So let those conversations continue. At some point you saw Paranya with the Deputy President, now you see him with Azimio. It happens like that many times until matters settle. And so therefore it is not yet done. So we must continue engaging and see who comes to what side. Clearly, as far as said, right now if we go for a contest, leave alone the info track surveys that are very manipulated, William Ruto has got 57.9%, the actual vote, the actual opinion poll. So Raila Odinga has lost his brand because he's become the billionaire's candidate. When he joined the deep state, and so he's no longer the Mwananchi, the Siafu, those kind of things. So for sure, Musalia Mudavadi should talk and continue to engage with William Ruto and vice versa. And for Cleophas Malala to have organized such a big rally that really came out very well, it's a kudos to that young man. And also he was with us in Eldoret. And of course, he always sent emissaries. I remember for Kalonzo to join Raila in 2013, he sent Mutula Kalonzo, the late, may his soul rest in peace, and Joseph Mudamba. So you will see most of that. There's an advance party, and I believe Cleophas Malala is an advance party for Musalia.
So Cleo is an advancing, the advancing team, so to speak, there on behalf of Musalia Mudavadi.
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to ask you, because you are pussyfooting on this, and you're playing very fancy footworks as well. I want you to be very categorical. There is negotiation, is there?
The negotiations are ongoing. That's what I said, But also, let me just make a comment about the registrar. Registrar cannot have powers to determine who is a member of a political party. Because you see now, right now, the requirement is that you upload online and you have two sides of the ID taken, the photos. But that is not proof enough that somebody has actually joined a political party. In any case, there is a difference between political party members and supporters. If you have a strong political party in a certain region, you cannot dissuade members from electing their own candidate during party nominations. And they're usually very messy and very shambolic. I've been a victim of that. What we need to have is a situation where you have a registrar also determining, even the agents of the party. That is interfering with internal party affairs. We need to have a more sober debate on the roles of the registrar of political parties in managing party nominations, and also, and remember what I said earlier on, if for example, there's a new political party, and we have this tendency in this country to have political parties less than 1 year to elections. If you have a very popular political party, like now UD is the most popular political party right now, then you can have a registrar frustrating the nominations of that political party by denying the fact that these are members. And Jubilee made a very serious mistake last time. They just uploaded all the 8 million supporters from Rift Valley and Mount Kenya region and made them members without their consent. That kind of thing is like just going to M-Pesa shops and picking people's IDs and details and uploading them there. So there's a lot of dishonesty on the part of all of us Kenyans, because you have 78 million political party members, and yet we are about 50 million. The point I'm trying to make is this. You don't have to have mass membership of political parties. Even the Conservative Party of the UK has got only 300,000 members. If you look at the CPC in China, out of 1.4 billion, they have only 90 million members. We'd rather just categorize that members are these ones, their law is by invitation, it's a club, but their supporters are mainly depending on the shifting tectonics of politics. Yeah.
Right.
Dibal,
let me allow me Faramalim just a bit, then I'll give you.
A few things. To begin with, as Maura puts it, political parties are private, organizations. And to have a public officer, basically, regulations are fine, but to have a public officer managing those private organizations is in itself, when they're political organizations, in my opinion, not right. As to this, the law right now which is being made, because they realized how the leader of ODM cannot be trusted. With all those, memorandums of agreements, memorandums and understandings, the big, press conferences that we made on the sharing of resources, regardless of whether we come to power or not, and the formula which was there, which was still reneged. Mountain people, my friends, and of course people who are in Jubilee, I'm talking about the president, and do not trust him, so they want to kind of lock his hands and into a legal framework. Omogen is a lawyer. He's a senior counsel. No. He understands that within the first week after the elections, anybody can go to court and contest the constitutionality of that piece of legislation. He also understands how easy it is for a member to bring that, an amendment to the bill itself, and water it down fully, because then people are in power, and they're able to create any collisions inside Parliament itself. So that one does not bother me. It doesn't look good, but what I know very for sure is that it's going to be thrown out, and it's going to be shut down as soon as possible, and the people who are going to do that would be even the ones who are in power at that time. Secondly, Maura has mentioned a number of times how I contested for the Speaker of the Senate. I lost with 2 votes, and I missed 5 votes from ODM at that time. 5 votes from ODM. Thanks to our brother Raila, because of a matter that I chaired on the floor of the House. I don't want to go into the details. Somebody did not find it very good. I chaired a debate, a very, what do you call, robust debate on drugs. And of course, somebody tried to take it out, and a whole region, the senators did not vote for me. He was there as the leader of the party and was not able to marshal the party resources and make sure that the party wins at least a speaker in one of the houses. Because it's all about himself. For Raila, it's all about himself. You have to support him, you have to go out of your way, you have to do everything for him. He does not have to do anything for you. This is the culture. Anyway, having said that, we will see how it spans out, and in time everybody is going to know everybody else. But the reality of the matter is, Omogeni is a very senior, what do you call him, lawyer, senior counsel, somebody we all look up to. But in politics, he's still a novice, I can assure you. You're going to learn a lot of things. I mean, as we continue, as we proceed in this business, you'll learn a lot of things. And at the end of the day, the most important thing in the practice of law itself, and in the practice of politics and its application, is that trust. When you don't have the trust, you cannot trust your closest friends and your closest, what do you call, confidants, because they see a benefit in somewhere else and are able to keep on following their own benefits. Then, of course, you will realize that there's nothing to hold you onto that kind of an organization or that party or that, what do you call, a club.
Thank you.
Anymore. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I think enough of that particular race for the Oka ticket as well. We have a big story as well, and I'll be remiss if we wind up the show this morning without really talking about it, and that is the resurgence of BBI. It is the month when the Supreme Court, yes, will make that particular ruling, whether Kenyans will go to a referendum as far as the BBI is concerned, and whether also the BBI will see the light of day. You know, this is a case that we've been following, all Kenyans, that was filed a while ago also by David Ndii, Deputy President's advisor, filed one of the cases challenging BBI amongst many that also filed. Kenyans abroad also had special umbrage on this particular document. Third Way Alliance was also the beat. And what is at stake is, was law review constitutional? Yeah, that was the probing question. There was also the biggest debate on the 70 constituencies, as it were, which many took it to be also, that particular doling of a carrot, to attract voters as well. And can the president be sued? And what does it mean if it sees the light of day? Let's just begin with you, Senior Counsel Okongo Mogani, because I think also you're smack dab in the middle of this BBI right from the onset, from the Senate, given that also you're part of JLAC as the chair.
Thank you, Dibal. First, just give me a minute to say that it's not fair for Farah Maalim to say very unkind things about Raila Odinga, which are not really true, because he's saying that everything about Raila is about self. But in 2007, the same Raila Odinga supported Farah Maalim for the position of deputy president, and in the history of Kenya, it will be recorded that Farah Maalim was a deputy speaker, ably supported by ODM party. So that's not about self. He actually assisted in promoting the political career of Farah Maalim. So that statement that Raila Odinga is always about self is not right. It's also not right that the political party's bill is being made to deal with Raila's dishonesty. That's not true, because the people who are actually going to benefit the bar is parties like Wiper. Because if we leave the law as it is today, Wiper will never benefit from the political funds money, because they will have to fight very hard to ensure that they have 20 members of parliament elected. We have reduced that to 1. They are the beneficiaries. We have said they don't have to get 3 governors. before they qualify for the fund. They can actually get one. We have said they don't need to get 3 senators. They can actually get one. For MCS, we had said you must have 40. Now we have reduced that and said even if you have one. Now, do you want to tell me that it's Raila who thinks that his party is going to get a challenge of getting 3 governors, 3 senators? We are making this law to assist small parties like Wiper so that they can grow. So let Farah Halim thank Raila Odinga that he is actually helping parties like Wiper to grow to be stronger political parties. And if you read the act, I want to correct Maura, there is nowhere it is proposed that the register of political parties will pick agents who will be undertaking nominations on behalf of political parties. What we are saying is that for members who will participate in nomination of candidates, they need to be certified members of that political party. And you know the progressive thing in the BAL is that for the first time this law is proposing that it will not be illegal or unethical for anybody to join a political party. The Act says any Kenyan 18 years and above will be at liberty to join a political party. You know, in the past, young people have been going for interviews and then you are asked, do you belong to any political parties? If you belong to ODM, they will tell you, then you are a partisan, you don't qualify. But now we are making it a constitutional right, political rights under Article 18, you can belong to any political party. So that members of that party, like in the US, it's Democrats who pick candidates who run for various seats on that party. Republicans do the same. Why do you want people who belong to UDA to come and participate in nominating me as a candidate for ODM? That is political dishonesty. Now, going back to the issue of billionaire candidates, between Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who is a billionaire among the two? In fact, if you talk about a billionaire candidate, then it's William Ruto who is a billionaire candidate. We know his net worth. So if you want to market a billionaire candidate, that billionaire candidate is William Ruto. He's the one who has wealth that has put him in that billionaire club. So don't call Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is a man who has fought for the downtrodden, those who have suffered in the hands of dictators, and he's giving us the liberty. He has made us enjoy the liberty that we're having today. So he's a candidate of people who want a free country, not a billionaire's candidate. Now, going back to BBI.
BBI, I just give you a one-liner because we are strapped for time. I think we'll give it a whole...
I think the best I can say is BBI is a very, very important case, Dibal, for this country. If you read our Constitution, Article 163.7, the verdict from BBI will be final. There will be no appeal. If the Supreme Court rules that BBI goes ahead, there's nothing unconstitutional, that is game shots. There is no any other avenue for anybody to appeal.
Thank you.
If it rules on these many issues that you have pointed out, whether you can sue president, public participation, that will be final. So my appeal is to ask the judges who are presiding over this case. I've seen in the newspaper that there are people who are complaining that the court is trying to deny them airtime. Let the Supreme Court give Kenyans an opportunity to ventilate. Even if it's to hear this case for 1 week, so be it. But let them get time to ventilate their issues before the Supreme Court.
All right, thank you. Farah Malim.
Yeah. To begin with, Omogeni, the fact that I became a deputy speaker was not a decision by Raila Odinga. It was a decision by all the members of parliament. And if you read Miguna's book, you will see what he has said. He was not too happy with that. Not only was it that, if you remember, my friend and colleague Marende won with 1 vote. I won with over 20 votes because even people on PNU side voted for me. And I was not a novice in politics. I was somebody who was part of the Young Turks. I had a history, basically. And that history itself could not be denied. As a matter of fact, if there's one person who worked very hard for me to become the speaker, although I rejected that myself,
we're winding up the
I wanted to serve my people at the constituency, was Ruto, William Ruto himself. He really wanted me to become the speaker, and if I had said yes, I would have been the speaker at that time.
Thank you.
But what I decided is that, one, give a chance to my brother Marende, and I also want to, when you are a deputy speaker, you have both sides. You're still a member of parliament, you can serve your people, and at the same time, you will the same powers as the speaker wills. But let me just finish.
Briefly, we're strapped for time.
You gave Omogeni all the time.
But I gave you all the time, Mheshimiwa, please.
Yeah, but let me just conclude now. Now, but the point of the matter is that let's not go too much into defending so and so defending. We've all been through that. We've all been through that. But the reality of the matter is that let's go for elections.
Thank you.
And let's see what Kenyans are going to decide. Kenyans are going to determine who becomes the next president.
Thank you.
And the next deputy president.
Right. Finally, Isaac Mwaura, we're talking of advanced team. It seems Farah also is that advanced team. He's been really holding brief for, your leader, party leader.
No, I think Farah is a very...
No. I give credit where credit is due, and I make my position very clear. I said I will never vote for him at this stage. I mean, my decision is very clear on that. I will not vote, but then a choice between Raila and Ruto, if it's going to be the only two candidates, I have a different opinion altogether.
All right.
I'm sorry, I know what the most Kenyans are going to look at. They're probably going to be more trust with all his imperfections. More trust, but then we are not going in that direction. We have a better option than both of them.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think Farah Maalim is the senior-most politician amongst us here, and he survived really, even without being in a parliament, and he's still relevant. That says a lot. And also, just to correct Okongo Mogeni, we are not talking about Raila being a billionaire, because he is anyway. He's a billionaire's, please get the English right because you are an advocate. He's a billionaire's candidate. He's the one who is being supported by Mount Kenya Foundation and all the rich people. He is no longer the candidate of the poor, the hoi polloi. Remember, he told us he was Joshua, and he was going to Canaan, and he got some crocodiles, some mamba. But he's become the watchman of the crocodiles as a feast on the people. Now, let me say this.
Briefly, we are winding up.
On the BBI, I think it would be very unfortunate if BBI, the Supreme Court disagrees with the two other courts. That would be politics. It will not be law, because the arguments made in both courts, the High Court and the Court of Appeal, were very far-reaching. So we want to see whether it will be a question of numbers, where they will be swayed by the appointing authority to make a decision. But we must make a law for posterity. Why I'm saying that is because the BBI is introducing an imperial presidency. There is an issue of subjugating the judiciary through the ombudsman. There is the issue of the 70 constituencies. They are okay because, like Ruto, we are really underrepresented and have been doing a lot of work for the last 9 years. But that can also still be done, by the 8 to 12 years provision. But I also want to say after this, because maybe you tell us to say the final word.
No. This is the final word.
Okay.
Right, thank you very much. I think,
and we are receiving the defectors now at Hustler Center after this.
Well, we'll slap with an invoice for actually using also a podium to do that. Yeah. Thank you very much. We don't want to get to granular details on the BBI because of time, but I want to thank you, Okongo Mogeni, also Farah Maalim and Isaac Mwaura for coming through this morning. I think a very cogent discussion we've had. Thank you for your insightful words. We are actually keeping our eyes open. Farah, you've attested to the fact that yes, also you lost by 2 votes here to, some time back to become a speaker. And also IBC, just to remind Kenyans, now is embarking on the second registration exercise for the voters after failing, of course, to garner 6 million in the previous exercise. Just a dismal 1.5 million Kenyans went full steam ahead to register. So this time you have another opportunity. Remember the power of your vote. If it can deny Farah Maalim that particular city, they said it only by 2 votes. Remember also Hitler came to power because of the power of 1 vote. Your vote counts. So if you want to make a difference, a discernible difference in this country, good leadership in this country, this is your opportunity. Make sure you get that particular ID, go out there and register as a voter for the change of this country. Thank you for your valued company. You're still watching Morning Prime. Sports is up next on Morning Prime. Great job.